Hey guys, it's Ken from Cactus Jam Board Games. Today, we're going to do a recap of 2023, things that we did related to board gaming and other items as well. And then we're going to be talking about upcoming events for the channel in 2024. So join me on the other side and let's catch up on stuff. Okay, welcome back everybody. This is our first video of the year 2024. We're going to be covering a number of different items. First thing I'd just like to mention is that Bo and I traveled overseas last year. We went to Japan and China. In Japan, we visited our son who was doing an internship in the city of Tokyo. And in fact, we went to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Kanazawa, made it to all those cities. We ate lots of food, did all the touristy stuff. We rode lots of trains. As you know from our previous videos, I do like to travel by train whenever I can, and it was a lot of fun in Japan. There's nothing better than hopping on a bullet train and going across the country. I think I mentioned earlier my son was doing an internship in Tokyo, specifically I think it was Shibuya, but I probably wrong. But that's okay. He can tell me and I'll put in corrections down below where exactly it was. So after Japan, we traveled to China. There we visited Bo's family. We were mostly in Suzhou, which is famous for the canals and beautiful parks and gardens. And of course, we saw a bunch of those gardens and when we were hanging out with family and friends there. We ate lots of food, of course, as well. Very, very good restaurants, very good places to hang out. And in fact, we ate at a restaurant right on a lake, right in the middle of the city. Afterwards, we kind of walked around the lake and took these beautiful pictures and the videos as well. As for board games, we hosted a lot of board game days ourselves, and we got introduced to a group here, and let me look them up real quick. It's the Metro Detroit Game Night. They've got a Facebook page right here. If you're in Metro Detroit, specifically north of the city, once a month, a guy named Rob hosts a board game day. And if you go to the Facebook page for Metro Detroit Game Night, yeah, you will see when the next game is scheduled. Definitely worth it. Really cool group of people. Each time that we went, we brought games with us. We taught the games to people that we met at the game night and ended up playing games. I think, what did we play the first time? I think we played Concordia the first time. I could be wrong. Could be Concordia. And then the second time we played Power Grid, and that was a lot of fun. Actually, a 6-player version of Power Grid. I've never done it before, but we were able to make it work in a decent amount of time as well. So definitely a good group of guys here, guys and gals, at the Metro Detroit Game Night. In addition to hosting board game days and going to other events as well, we also purchased some board games this year, and let's go through those in turn. The first game that we purchased the first game that I want to talk about is The Crew. This is a cooperative trick-taking game. For those of you who are not familiar with that terminology, think of euchre, where it's a hand of cards are dealt to each player. The goal is to play cards and compete for the trick in the middle of the board. When you're playing euchre, you're actually competing. I want to take that trick for myself. In The Crew, the game has been, or the idea, the concept of trick-taking is twisted in that everyone is working together. There is a common task at the beginning of each game, and the games only take about 20 minutes. You can have up to 5 players. Each game, there is a task assigned to a player. That player will have to complete that task successfully. All the other players are working to make sure that happens. If it does happen, all the players around the table succeed, and the hand is won. They move on to the next hand where a new task is given them. If they don't succeed, you have a couple options at that point. You can get rid of the task that gave you trouble and get a new one for the next game, or turn in the cards, shuffle, re-deal everything, and then try again. So the game itself it goes really quick. I think there's 50 different scenarios within it. Each scenario is a task, and each one takes about 20 minutes. So you can play several games in very rapid order, and great game, definitely recommended. So the second game that I want to talk about is Heat, Pedal to the Metal. And this is a racing game. The cover kind of gives it away, it tells you what you're doing here. Each player, and we're competitive now, unlike the crew where we're cooperative, this is a competitive game, but it's not that hard hitting of a game. It's not a lot of punching. The box is pretty big, the board is gigantic. New players may see this and be a little intimidated. Don't sweat it. In fact, that was our first experience when I introduced this to a group of people of mixed gaming experience. A couple of them were kind of nervous about what they were seeing, how big the board was, how big the box was, and the task. So it's a deck management game. But I will say this, once the rules are explained and the first turn is ongoing, most players pick it up pretty quickly and jump right into it. Definitely a recommend. And I think this is going to be one of the videos I'll be doing, or one of the games I'll be doing a video later on this year. The third game that we're going to talk about is Caverna. So this is a game that I played many years ago. I think it came out in 2014. Don't quote me on that. If it's incorrect, I'll have a message down below. I think it was 2014, Caverna. This is a Rosenberg game. It's superb. It's the next step up from Agricola, or Agricola with a twist. And so you can play up to 7 players in this game. We've mainly played this, just Bo and myself, after work, after dinner. We'll break out this game and we'll just play just the two of us. It's got a great solo as well. This one is a dandy. There's just, this is one of the games that led to Feast for Odin, where there's all sorts of opportunities and things to do. It's a worker placement game where resources are collected to be able to do things to get you points to win the game. The worker placement is central to the game itself. Like I say, there's lots of different slots to put workers to do things to get those resources to be able to do what you want to do. Caverna is just a fantastic game for this purpose. One of Rosenberg's very best game. I would think this was pretty competitive even with Feast for Odin. So I think I'll be doing this one as well. If I can convince Bo to be on video, we'll do 2-player. Otherwise, I'll do a solo play. So the next game I want to talk about is Darwin's Journey. This is a game from last year, 2023. It is a beautiful game. Absolutely gorgeous when you see it set up, spread out on the table. In fact, I have it downstairs right now. I just went ahead and played a solo version of it. Absolutely extraordinary game. Worker placement mechanism. There's a racing mechanism. There's both a track for ships and also for explorers on islands. Set collection, many different mechanisms. Beautiful artwork. I think I've mentioned that already. Just lovely, lovely game. This was one that I'll definitely try to get to the table as well for the channel, to get at least a solo version. And this game is actually, this copy right here is my buddy Paul's, and he let me borrow this so I could learn how to play the solo version, both the standard game and the expansion here. So this is Fireland expansion, so the Fireland Island. Absolutely fantastic as well. It really adds a lot to the game itself. And these two, so when I do the video, I'll be doing both, either a 2-player game with Paul or 1-player solo, but I'll do both the expansion and the standard game. And I'll say this right now, I'm sure Michael out there will see me with the expansion and say, whoa, Ken finally came around in doing expansions. I don't do a lot of expansions normally, but this one is definitely a good one. Definitely one I would recommend. Next topic, or next game to talk about, is another Rosenberg game, Fields of Arle. And so this is a worker placement game as well, because it's U.E. Rosenberg, and of course there's sheep in it, other animals. So it's a farming simulation, worker placement, as I mentioned, many different options. You can see the progression in the game design, going from Agricola, Caverna, Fields of Arle, leading up to Feast for Odin. Those mechanisms that mature in Feast for Odin definitely are being tried out here. And on top of the Fields of Arle base game, I've got the expansion for it as well. This is the Tea and Trade expansion for the game. It makes it really quite interesting, much more challenging. My scores are much higher when I play the base game. When I add the Tea and Trade, I'm clearly not doing something right because my scores are much lower. So I got to figure out what the mechanisms are here and how to employ these mechanisms to enhance this game right here. And again, 2 expansions, or I should say, second game with an expansion in 1 year. I'm definitely changing my stripes here and trying something different. The last game that we're going to talk about is John Company 2nd edition from Whirligig Games. This is a complex game. What I mean by that, the game itself is actually really straightforward. Yes, there's lots of moving parts and there's lots of steps to get through one turn. But the complexity comes with the subject matter. This is a difficult game to talk about. I've actually recorded this part several times now. I'm still not sure I'm going to be happy with where this is going to go. I'm going to defer and recommend, if you're interested, to go check out the Shut Up and Sit Down video where Tom Brewster talks about John Company. I think he does it in a very nuanced and the subject matter is difficult, and I think he does a really nice job with it. So I would recommend checking out that review. I'll put the link down below. The game is complex, subject matter wise. The mechanics are not, and the mechanics are actually quite interesting and done really well. So, like I say, difficult game to talk about, but definitely a great game to play. And having an understanding of the subject matter, I think, is important to really get the full effect of what's happening here with this board game. One that I've definitely enjoyed playing. I've had a chance to play it twice now. Both times were quite good. I'll definitely try to get it onto the table again and be willing to have the conversations about what this company did and the implications behind that. Okay, so that's it for this first video for 2024. I think we've got some videos on deck, Heat, Darwin's Journey, Fields of Arle, and even Caverna. Probably solo for all of those, but if I can convince somebody to join me, we'll get a 2-player version at least, so we can see how those games work with more than one player. So without further ado, I think we'll go ahead and close out for now. Keep an eye out for the channel. We'll be producing some videos in the next few months and talk about some of these games. Oh, in addition, I think we're going to be hitting at least one convention this year. Working on one. There's some steps that have to be taken care of first before I can really make that one happen. And my dream is always to get to Essen in the fall and be part of that convention as well. We'll see if it can happen this year. We'll just play it by ear. Okay, guys, thanks a bunch for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave comments down below if you've played any of these games. Are you interested in playing any of those games? And we can have a conversation down below. Okay, guys, bye now.